today we're doing our third episode of TAZI Talks. This is Hakan from TAZI. I work as a machine learning solutions manager. And then today we're here to talk about how we have leveraged machine learning to provide prescriptive insights on cross-selling activities in insurance. And then today we have with us Kashif, who is the head of insurance at TAZI. Kashif, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and your background in insurance?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Hakan. And hi, everyone. Nice to be here. As Hakan mentioned, I serve as the head of insurance at TAZI, and I joined TAZI in January of this year. And I come to TAZI with almost 30 years of insurance and insurance transformation experience, now looking to take those learnings and apply them to data analytics.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Kashif. So my first question would be for today's TAZI Talks is that given your background in insurance, how would you define cross-sell from an insurance lens? And why do you think it is important for insurance carriers?
As you know, a lot of insurance companies have strategic objectives to increase profitable growth. One of the levers for profitable growth is account penetration and sharing of the wallet initiatives. Part of the sharing of the wallet is cross-sell and upsell. Now, cross-sell is defined as adding additional products into the portfolio of a customer, whereas upsell is defined as getting more premium from the portfolio that customer already holds. So as an example, cross-sell will say one person has auto insurance, let's sell home insurance to them because they don't have it. Whereas upsell may say our customer already has auto insurance, let's increase their limits because they're under limited and at risk based on their risk profile. Or we're seeing that they're getting into a lot of accidents and we're not ready to close the risk with them, but let's decrease their deductibles. So that's where upselling and cross-selling come in.
Thank you so much, Kashif. That definitely makes sense. And I can see why cross-selling is so important for an insurance carrier, especially in terms of profitable growth. So then, if this is actually such an important task, I assume it comes with challenges in the business environment, right? So my question would be, what are some like significant business challenges in today's cross-selling initiatives in insurance?
Yep, another great question. So to address challenges, I always tend to think of challenges as relative. So challenges are a point in time. And given where we are today in this world, data-driven world where everyone is going towards digital transformation, some of the challenges get a magnifying glass on it. So when I think about how insurance companies have traditionally addressed cross-selling, two broad challenges come to mind. The first challenge is related to how the list gets created, and the second challenge is related to how the list gets worked, so to speak. So in the first challenge, how the list gets created, typically what is done is a product portfolio comparison. An analyst runs a report, and based on that report, tries to understand where the product portfolio gaps are in a customer's portfolio and what they have bought from us, the products and services. And then based on where those gaps are, a simple list is created that says, go after these products. So going back to my previous example, if I am with my insurance company, I only have auto insurance with them, they're going to look to cross-sell umbrella and homeowners to me, just based on what I do have and what I don't have. Now, with the first challenge, based on how we are creating the list, there really aren't any insights that can be modeled, such as probability of success in that cross-sell. So what is the customer risk profile of the individual? What is their propensity to buy? All those things are not modeled in the traditional way of coming up with these lists. There's a lot of left to be desired in those lists because they don't have any insights or modeled insights in creating them. Now, the second challenge I talked about was working the list. And again, in the traditional way that's happened is typically a CSR or an agent or a junior underwriter or an underwriting assistant is given those lists to work. And there's no prioritization in those lists. So what happens is the individual will start at the top and they'll work through it systematically or opportunistically if they happen to be on a call within a customer and know that there's a gap in their product portfolio. And then opportunistically, they will offer different products to them. And so therein lie the two challenges with creating the list and in working the list.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, those two challenges, especially I think I would assume probably exist in any other core functions when it comes to underwriting or marketing. And then it would be actually very interesting to understand how machine learning helps those today.
Yeah, absolutely. And given your experience in machine learning and the work you've done in the insurance space, Hakan, are these challenges addressable by machine learning?
Yes, exactly. Again, great question, by the way. So first of all, I mean, the first challenge that you said was basically the creation of the lists tend to be simplistic in nature, and there are many business rules behind them. This could be covering information, product purchase information, and then through those business rules, sales team build different qualified lead lists. But again, this is a huge list, and then there's not much information, and the sales agents have to go through the list themselves. What machine learning can help with this situation is that it can first optimize those business rules that already exist in the system. So machine learning can take in those existing rules and then add external data into it, add certain indicators additionally, and then provide different models that will immediately create lists that are shorter, that are more qualified, and then that are easier to work with, which also comes into your second challenge, which is actually working the lists. And this is also even a more powerful additional value of machine learning, because after the creation of a list, sales agents have to go through them one by one, trying to see if they are qualified based on their domain experience. But when machine learning comes in the picture, machine learning can provide different insights on that list. So it can actually tell you what actions to take, why is a lead qualified or not, and then like what's the score of the lead. So machine learning will provide a scoring system so that the agents can actually prioritize their work, even if they have a huge list or not. So machine learning can address both of those challenges by creating a scoring system and by making sure the business rules you already have are optimized in a continuous manner. So given that machine learning actually addresses those two challenges, which are the business rule optimization and working those lists, when we actually deploy different projects in machine learning, it's very hard to prove success. So what is one metric that is very important for cross-sell initiatives in insurance? And then you also said that cross-sell relates to profitable growth. So when you actually think about the different metrics related to growth and related to cross-sell initiatives, what are some important metrics that needs to be considered in order to make sure that a machine learning deployment is successful?
Yeah, great question. Because if you look at it from just a profitable growth perspective, the two metrics that jump to mind are premium and profitability, right? And measuring those. And as we discussed earlier, there's many levers to get to that. And the reason cross-sell helps profitable growth is conventional wisdom that says that the more products a customer has with a company, the more quote unquote sticky they are with that company. And because of that stickiness, not only will the chances of them staying with that company are higher, but in terms of retention, but also their profitability becomes higher the longer they are with them. So because of those measures and those aspects of cross-sell and retention and profitability, this is where cross-sell can help profitable growth. So the two KPIs or metrics we've already mentioned are premium and profitability. For cross-sell, the two additional ones I would add to that are conversion rate and policy per household, if it's personal lines, or policies per account, if it's commercial lines.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I would also assume, I mean, based on our experience, conversion rate is very significant to prove success as well. So, great message.
So I do want to go back to you speaking through how machine learning can help address some of the challenges in cross-selling. And as you know, from a machine learning adoption perspective, there's a lot of evidence out there of failed use cases, lack of adoption. And as I put on my transformation hat, right, a space I've lived in insurance for more than 2 decades, there are two key critical success factors that I think about that is a constraint for adoption, right? One is, what is the accuracy of the model that's being created, and can the business really put their trust behind it? Because some of these are mission critical initiatives, right? So what, there are those people out there rightfully so, are questioning, can I trust the results of what the machine or the model will provide? And then the second piece is just the experience you go through it, right? In developing that model and maintaining it and enhancing it. So for the people that are rightfully concerned, right, for the business and for the folks that are rightfully concerned about adopting this technology and adopting it fast, what would you say to them?
Yeah, again, a very, very good question, because basically, from what I understand is whether it's accuracy or whether it's the journey they go to, it can boil down to two different aspects when it comes to actually machine learning helping a company. It's first, as I said before, the value they get from the technology, and then we already talked about the KPIs on specifically for Crosshair and their experience journey, like you said. So what's the method? How does the project actually get successfully deployed? And then when we actually think about it from a machine learning and a TAZI perspective, the first thing that comes to mind is the trust in data, or the trust in modeling, trust in AI or ML. So, and this actually ties up to the experience journey as well. And basically what machine learning can do is that it can not only like predict some qualified leads, create those leads and help working those leads, but it also needs to be explainable. So machine learning can provide explainable insights, like why is a lead qualified? Even if it has a high score, the agent who's working it needs to understand why that's qualified or not. And if the agent validates that explanation, then you can actually cross that bridge of trust in data and trust in AI and ML. So that the agent can not only see the different data sources that are being used in the machine learning modeling, and also can also provide even feedback to the different explanations to the different customer segments. So what TAZI does is it tries to bridge the gap between business units and data scientists, where data scientists gather data from different data sources and then build models with explanations. And then business users can come in, view those explanations, validate them, and can even give feedback to any Crosshair model that they want. So by actually bridging the gap between that disconnect of data scientists and business units, the experience journey is not only much more smooth, but also the deployment timeline is shortened, because now business users can go in, view the KPIs and understand what's going on with the deployment process. And then when we look at the value they get from the technology, it is very important that any machine learning model is heavily focused on the business KPI, and then can actually provide different insights, KPI specific insights. So even if you have like a machine learning model that provides explanations and you provide where business users can provide feedback, the output of the model, even if it's just a technical accuracy, should be KPI specific. So, and accuracy should be able to be easily converted into a specific additional written premium, additional profitability metrics, so that the executives can understand the value they get from the technology itself. And I think this all ties down to that change management aspect in the business transformation side. So basically, by being able to provide explanation, being able to provide feedback to models, and also making sure that all the models are KPI specific and business focused, TAZI can address those two challenges in terms of the value they get and their experience journey.
That's great. And I believe you hit the nail on the head, because when it comes to transformation or business transformation or digital transformation, there are many, many factors that can determine whether that's going to be a successful or failed transformation. And one of the factors is the people that are impacted, right? The business that is impacted and the stakeholders that are impacted. Are we making their job easier for them? Are we making their job more difficult for them? Which is a huge change management aspect. Come to that realization, which makes it easier. So when you talk about trust, that is a very, very key point, because trust doesn't happen overnight, right? It happens through experience, it happens through understanding, and it happens through confirmation. So that's great that you're talking about the trust in the system. Now, from a conceptual perspective, I think these are great conversations. Can you speak a bit about what you've actually realized or helped the client realize from cross-sell machine learning implementation?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, from a practical perspective, again, given that we have deployed many different Crosshair models, it's very important that we actually see a see that we can get like a return of investment from those solutions. So when you actually look at the specific gains that our clients have realized in a specific cross-sell case, for example, the goal of the deployment was to predict which customers have a likelihood to buy an umbrella product on top of auto and home policies. And then, as you said, one of the most important metrics in this specific deployment was the conversion rate, because the sales agents were going through a hard time understanding which leads to contact, which one of them are qualified, and even if they contacted them, there was only a 1% conversion rate. And after TAZI came into the picture and provided both explainability and also being able to get feedback from the business units, TAZI increased this conversion rate to 10% from 1% by giving a set of qualified leads and lead scores to the sales teams. So after running a small pilot in terms of the umbrella cross-sell, we were able to increase conversion rate to 10% in cold calls and cold emails. But additionally, as you said, even from the experience they get from this journey, they were able to increase their sales efficiency, the efficiency of the sales teams, which also had a great impact on how they work the leads and their current experience with AI. When the sales agents realized that the leads that they work are actually very qualified and they can actually get a response, they saw that it's helping their work, so their efficiency almost doubled just because TAZI gave the right leads with the right explanations. So by both increasing conversion rate to 10% and by improving the sales efficiency, which lead to, as you said, like the both profitable growth and policy per household, we were able to realize gain in less than 3 months.
That's a great story, because to your point, not only did the model help make better predictions, so the effectiveness of the lists went up, but the efficiency of the teams, right, knowing what they have to work on was a lot better, because now they have a prioritized list to go up against. On the 10% conversion rate that you increased, or the client realized, was that just in a modeling scenario, or was that also in real life as their team picked up those recommendations and took them to action in the market?
Yeah, definitely. So what we did is, after building a model, actually together with the team, we ran a small pilot where they took actions with the leads. So we provided a set of qualified leads, and they took those leads with the explanation and with prescribed actions and started the cold call and cold email campaigns. And then we started to see the benefit. So it's actually a real benefit where they took action on the field, they written actual premium with TAZI, and then they collected that premium and then increase their profitable growth.
That's amazing. And through that experience, would you say that the team has now more trust in the data and more trust in AI and ML?
Definitely, because when you actually look at the data points that were relevant, like for an umbrella cross-sell, like for example, square footage of their home, the different sales channels that use the current insured value, or the mileage they have on their car, and different coverage and limit information, when the agent saw that like the leads that are being recommended by TAZI look at high square footage or at specific customer demographics or high limits, they were immediately actually certain that some of these leads can actually be qualified, and they don't have to go through them one by one. They can just start taking actions immediately without actually trying to understand whether that lead is qualified or not. So after gaining that trust that each lead that we have, that TAZI gives them, it has a certain rate of qualifiedness, they started taking actions, which proved out great benefits at the end.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because reading between the lines, a lot of collaboration there, business involvement, and the headline that I'm hearing is for the business, by the business. And what better way to address trust in the data, in the model, than being involved in it from the get-go?
So yeah, I mean, given that this, after establishing this trust, as I said, they were able to take immediate actions. But the thing about machine learning is, like, sometimes even machine learning provides prescribed actions. The actions can be highly dependent on the client, highly dependent on the person who is taking that action. So it's very important to understand from an insurance lens what business actions that can be taken from a cross-site perspective. So, I mean, my final question is, even if we have trust, if we have experience and everything, like what are some possible suggested actions for cross-sell efforts that would actually disrupt the industry if we are doing a machine learning driven cross-sell deployment?
Yeah, so from a solutioning perspective, I would say the first action would be to take the results and the insights stemming from the model and deploy them into whatever system the outreach team within the company is living in. So if it's a CRM system, then the actions that can get deployed or integrated stemming from these insights, first and foremost, you have to contact the individual, whether it's a policyholder or a representative of the corporate client. And so there's different ways of contacting the customer, and there's different times in the day to contact the customer. So one set of prescribed actions could be around what is the best method to contact the customer in, and what time of day to contact that customer in. So the second set of recommendations would be around what product and gets offered to that customer. And that offering is both in terms of the specific product. Is it an auto? Is it a home? Is it an umbrella that gets offered? And it may be also accompanied by what are the coverage terms associated with that, which addresses the risk profile of the target customer.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. Yeah, I think when you talk about both the contact method and both the product recommendation, they're two completely different things, but when even combined together, they can even provide more additional value. So I think, yeah, great point. Thank you so much.
So Hakan, this has been a great conversation. If I want to find out more about TAZI's cross-sell solution, what's the best way for me to do so?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend everyone to go into our website, check out our cross-sell solution under the insurance industry, so they can see what we exactly do and how we actually approach cross-sell from an insurance lens. And then under that section, you will also find our cross-sell white paper, where they can actually see and understand, even take a deeper dive onto our cross-sell solution. So our website would be the first way to go. And then if they are more interested, we would be happy to jump on a call with them to understand their needs.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Hakan.
Thank you so much, Kashif. Have a great day.
You too.